Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Throne Room Conversations. I am your host, Patreasa Haywood, and I have a very special guest here with me on today. She has come to the table to put me in the hot seat. She is my cousin. You're always going to be my little cousin. Hello, Tarsha. Welcome to the Throne Room, beautiful. How are ya?
Hello. Hey, family.
Hey, that's Marsha, for many of you who know, you already know she is the I was going to say the podcast queen, and we'll keep it at that. She has recorded over 104 episodes, and now she's moving behind the scenes in a new era. So Tarsha is producing podcasts. So it's behind the scenes. And hook check her out. If you have any questions about podcasting, please check her out. T Renee Collection.
Media.
T Renee Collection. So but she is here on a different role today. So
Mhm.
we've just had Father's Day, so we wanted to do a special tribute to all the fathers. And we realized she's been knowing me all her life because I'm older, that I never really share about my story. So I trust her. I love her. She's going to be the one to interview me and put me in the hot seat so that we can hear about my story as it pertains to my father. So, Tarsha, it's in your hands.
Well, thank you for trusting me to do this. And like she said, we were talking, and I'm like, I've known you all my life, and I know your story, but I don't know your story. So let's let the people know your story. So I want to start here. For those that don't know, how many sisters do you have?
Oh, so look, I'm nervous. Whew,
We're
okay,
talking
I
about
don't know
you.
why.
It's your story.
It's my
It's your
story.
story.
Look,
Yeah.
sweaty palms and all. All right, let's go. So, I have two
Okay.
sisters, from my mom, and then my dad has, one other daughter. So, but I have two on my mom's side.
Okay. And what is your earliest memory of your
Oh,
dad?
oh my. Um, I would say my earliest memory, probably when I was like maybe 3 or 4, because I remember when, we relocated, we moved to Florida,
Oh, you
and
remember that.
I do, I remember flying on a plane. And I didn't know where I was going. They later told me that's where my uncle was bringing me to Florida, so I remember him around that time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
And okay, so for those that don't know, you were born in Arkansas. You were not born here in Florida. Cause
I was born in Arkansas.
yeah,
Yes.
because you've been here a long time, but most people might not know that. So
Right, right,
wow,
right.
you remember that plane ride. Okay.
I do. I remember the plane ride with my uncle. Um, I could that is crazy how our mind, I remember him holding me, and I remember we were walking up, like the steps to the plane. That's what I remember.
Wow.
I know.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So you get here to Florida.
Mm,
Now, let me ask you this. So at the time, your mom, my auntie, and your
mhm.
dad, were they married at this time, or what do you
They
know
were
about that?
married.
Oh,
They were married, but they separated, so that's why she was moving.
that's
Mhm.
okay. Okay. Now, when you get here, is your father ever here in Florida, or at that point now you're here and he's
He's
there?
still in Arkansas, yeah, or wherever he
Okay.
was. Mhm.
Okay. So now, after you make this move and you start to grow up and you're now here in Florida, how much contact are you having with him? Like, what do you remember? Like, are there phone conversations? Does he come visit? I know as a family, we would always go to Arkansas. So, did you ever get to see him then? What did that look like?
So, really, for me, I remember he never came to Florida. If he did, we didn't see him while he was here in Florida. He didn't come
Okay.
to visit us, but, I only remember seeing him, every summer when we went to Arkansas during the summertime or for
Mm,
family reunions, that's when we would see him if he was there. Um, and I do remember phone calls periodically throughout the year. So he would call and we would talk to him on the phone, but my sister and I were talking, I don't remember, it wasn't like for my birthdays, I can't remember like a happy
mhm.
birthday phone call or Merry Christmas. I just remember periodically phone calls
Okay.
every so often. But yeah. And we would then see him during the summertime when we would go to Arkansas.
Okay. Okay, so he's not really around, but you know he exists. You know who your father
Yeah.
is.
That's
How
what I said. I know him, but I didn't know
oh,
him.
know
I knew
him.
who he was. I knew his face. I knew he was handsome, handsome guy.
Mhm.
Um, I knew him and when we would see him, hug him and hi and, small talk, but I didn't know him.
And plus,
The
when you're seeing him at that time, you're a kid, so
Yeah, 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 yeah. Only thing we're doing is sitting there like, "Hey,
hey, right.
hi. Hey, how's school? Hey, hey,
Yeah.
girl, come give me a hug. I'm your daddy." I'm like, "Okay."
Okay, so I'm glad you said that because that helps me segue. Now he said, "Hey, come give me a hug. I'm your daddy." But in your everyday life,
Yeah.
what does who is stepping into that role of
Oh, yes.
father?
Our grandfather, Big Daddy. Um, we called him Big Daddy.
Mhm.
He stood in the gap. He stepped in, he filled those shoes because that's who I've been knowing as Daddy, and Big Daddy. Um, from yeah, all I that he's who I remember,
Sure,
growing up. Mhm.
because he was who was there
He was
every
there because
day, in and out.
when we moved to Florida, we moved with them, with our grandparents.
When you would see your dad and he's like, "Hey, come give me a hug," or a call or whatever, as a kid, and I know you can only speak for you because your other sisters
Yeah,
probably would have a different perspective.
yeah, uh-huh,
Do you remember feeling weird or just like, "Okay, hey," and then
yeah. I
how
think
how did that make you feel?
as the oldest, because I was the oldest, so I was just it was weird. It was weird. I'm trying to remember if I felt I remember, like, being uneasy because of just kinda like,
Why?
"Okay."
Do you know why?
Um, because, he was from what we were told, my dad was, in the military, and, when he served and when he came back, I was told a couple of stories, a couple things, maybe possibly something happened, and when he came back, he was different. So, either
Okay,
someone put something in his drink or either it was something from the war. So, it was like he wasn't, his normal self. So,
got you.
sometimes the conversations would be um, a little what's the word? A little, just weird, but with me, he was just mostly it was just kinda like surface level. "Hey, how are you? I'm your daddy, give me a hug." That's really all I really remember him asking, really.
Okay,
Like,
okay. Now
yeah.
you also have a unique experience because we have an uncle that so happened to marry into the same family.
Oh,
So while you don't have contact well, you have your father, but you also still have access to the family
yes.
because the dynamic is
My
very that's a
wonderful my dad's
that
sister, so she is
right.
amazing. So she is the one really that kinda grounded us so that we would know about him and just kinda to know as much as I do know about
And let me
him.
explain. So what happened is Patrice's mother and our uncle, they so happened to marry into the same family.
Yes.
So our uncle married Patrice's father's sister.
That's
I
it.
hope that made sense.
They weren't
So
related. No
they
blood.
weren't related. Right, right, right. They just married in
So
2
don't
people
try to
married
come
into
for
the
us with
same
yeah.
family.
Hey, don't
Right.
try to come for us with that Arkansas stuff.
Right, 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 right.
No, they
And
weren't
so,
related. Yeah.
no, no relation at all. Just 2 people married into the same family.
Right.
And so this gives you a unique perspective. So now we had a lot of contact and still do with our aunt because she's
Yes.
my aunt too.
Yes. Yes.
and and so but you're related to her 2 different ways. So when
Yeah.
it came to that side and when she would talk about her brother, which is your
Yeah.
father,
Uh-huh.
what did those conversations look like? Because even me being around, I don't think I really, really put that together till I was like in high school.
Really? Okay. No,
That
yeah, from day one, because we would go and spend time with my aunt, and my grandmother on my dad's mom. So
Oh,
yeah.
really?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So I we
I didn't
so
know that.
so
Uh,
we would go outside of like the family reunions and stuff
yeah.
because we would see that's when we would go spend time with her with my aunt. So
Oh.
I knew my dad's mom. Yeah, and I knew my dad's I know my dad's sister. Yeah.
Okay, see, and again, because that's a unique lens, because a lot of times when the family, or rather if the father is absent, you really don't have access to the family like that.
Right, and
But you
see,
still have
he oh, okay.
access.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Cause he moved away from Arkansas. So that's when he really became even though we would go see him periodically through the summers while he was there, but he moved away. So once he moved away, we lost all contact. So all we had was
Okay.
my aunt and my grandmother.
And your grandmother.
Yeah, and just, my aunt was always really good about, she would let us know if she heard from him or and she would just share all the stories with them growing up. So that's kind of how we got more of an insight, through
Okay.
her. Yeah, 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 yeah. Um, and just knowing, I guess, and I think about because my dad, I mean, every time people talk about him, they talk about how he was such a sharp dresser. He was a handsome guy. And I knew that he was handsome, yeah.
I've heard that from
The
my
sharp
own dad
dressing
because
part
all of my dad and they all went to high school together. So I've heard that from my dad about your
isn't
dad.
that something?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now when we saw him, I didn't see the sharp dressiness, it was just a
Sure.
casual dress attire, but that's what I always hear, how smart he was, how quiet he was, how he was just, a all-around guy, just really nice, sweet guy. So, that I'm like, wow. But I knew of him through that way. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I don't recall any personal conversations to where I was like, my dad is, he is
Yeah.
so nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't. I don't have
Because
that.
now, because now this is secondhand information at this point because
It is.
you
And
don't have.
I am so thankful for it, because that gave me a better insight onto who he was, before whatever happened to him. So yeah. Yeah.
Now I know as a kid, as a teenager, this is just. I know you're not having any deep thoughts about this at this
Mhm.
point. This is just what it is, how it is.
Yeah.
When we go to Arkansas, we're gonna spend time with this side of the family, and then we're gonna go over here.
Yeah.
Um, and spend with my auntie, grandmother. Did you have cousins and stuff on that side that you
I do. Actually,
growing up though, or
growing up, no, I didn't. I knew a couple of them, some that lived right next door to my grandmother.
okay,
So we would see them, but not like have a relationship. So I knew of my aunt. I knew of her too, my aunt, my grandmother's sister. And then yeah. So I knew when we would go visit, we would see them. But when my grandmother moved, then I think they moved away as well.
okay,
And I actually did not reconnect with that side outside of my auntie until like a few years ago. We went
and
to a family reunion and I was able to see dad's side, the
okay,
entire that side, the aunts, the cousins, um and many were really close to him, and I heard the same exact stories, how smart he was, how he was such a the little cousins looking up to him because they knew him very well. Because when he
Yeah.
moved away from Arkansas, he went and lived in areas where they were, you know.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, they knew him. They were in contact, so they knew him. And one of them was his best friend that they even went into the military together. So he was just like, your dad, I wish your dad was around, just different things. But he was just they gave us that was amazing because that was about a few years ago.
Yeah, I remember when y'all went.
And it's like a missing piece, how you really didn't even
Oh,
realize I was
okay.
missing a
Put a
piece.
pin in that. Hold on. Hold on. Put a pin in that. Put the pin in that. Hold on. We're gonna come back to that. Hold on. Hold on. I'm gonna rewind just a little bit because you just said it how they were saying that they wish he was here. Um, so he did pass away.
Oh, yes.
And when did he pass away?
I
How
should
old
have
were you?
I should have, kinda I can't remembering. I do believe I was in high school,
Okay.
because I think if I'm remembering correctly, I should have looked it up. Um, if I remember correctly, my grandmother died when I was in college, and I was in high school, I think, when he passed, but I'm not quite sure. But I remember yeah, I can remember the funeral, but
You
I
went to the
don't rem
funeral?
I did.
I
We all
didn't know
did.
that.
Mhm. We went to the funeral and, 'cause we received the flag, his flag, a flag from the, military. Yeah,
Okay, wait.
yeah.
Pause.
Girl,
How
you
does
didn't
that
know?
happen?
Yeah,
No. I'm telling you, we've been related all
'cause
our
that
lives,
shows
and this
that
is just conversations that we just had never had. Okay,
right.
so you haven't had contact with him, but because you have contact with the family still.
Mhm.
How did and y'all went to the funeral. Do
It
you
was
remember what the do you remember, like, how you felt or or here's my question. Are you just existing in this because you got Big Daddy? And those shoes are being filled. So I got this over here, even though I know this over here exists.
wow. Wow, that's good. Yeah, 'cause I mean, Big Daddy made sure, we didn't miss a beat. And he, loved, supported us through
Yeah.
everything, throughout my entire life. Look, from from daycare all the way through
All the way
college,
up
my
from,
children, he was there. He was there for everything.
from calling us out in that
Graduation,
back row when we was trying to tip out of church. Those my grandchildren on the you remember that trick? We was like, oh, sit down, sit
church.
down, sit down.
He was the one, yeah, he's gonna make sure we attended church. And his big thing was Sunday school because we
Sunday
went to
school.
church all the time. But he was like, "Hey, y'all getting up for Sunday school?" That was his thing.
Nowhere near.
Um, oh goodness. Wow. Oh, okay. So with my dad, my I remember the funeral, and I remember crying. I remember feeling sad that I didn't know him,
Mm,
you know, and I said, yeah, I was mourning, the dad that we didn't know. We didn't
the
know him like that,
the mourning the absence.
the absence, not even, necessary. And I know my aunt, she loved her brother, she
Yeah,
loves her brother, loved her. So
yeah.
she would share so many, and I remember mourning the father I could have had. You
Okay.
know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, I
it's
know.
like,
Yeah,
man, why did it happen
have
like this where we didn't get that side of him? So that's what I didn't get that side. And it really, even with Big Daddy, because he was just there, I say we had the best version of him because I know we had the older settled
You had the
version.
older settled version. Yeah,
His
yeah.
children had a different one, but
That's normally how that goes.
yeah, as the grands, we got the older version to sell, but yeah, I think it would, like, hit, like, throughout, even though I had Big Daddy, when some of my friends would be like, "I'm daddy's girl," and you grew up with your dad
Mhm.
in the home, so it was just like a daddy's girls, and I had some friends who were daddy's girls. So, and that was not something that I could ever say because I was never,
Mm,
but I was a
oh,
big daddy girl.
that's interesting to me though, because yeah, absolutely. Um, because even though you had, like you said, you didn't skip a beat, but you didn't
Mhm.
have. At least
Mhm.
that's how you felt
Mhm.
on the inside. Nobody
Mhm.
would ever know that though.
Right. I don't even think I realized it until just
Oh,
older, and
that's
you
it right
begin
there.
to process it because I didn't
Yeah.
realize it. Growing up, I was fine. Yeah,
Yeah.
I had everything. I was
Everything.
fine.
Didn't skip a beat.
But I do remember, like, and I can think of a couple of my friends or people that daddy's girls. And I was like, oh,
You're like,
yeah.
wow.
And that really shaped, now that I think about it. Yeah, I didn't think about it till I got older.
Mhm.
And then maybe in college, in my
Or maybe
major,
when you start having kids.
oh, definitely there. Yeah. Cause I'm thinking in college, my major was psychology, so I love, like, wondering, like, why this happened, and then there was a big thing about daddy wounds, and I'm like, "Well, what is a daddy wound? Do I have it?"
Yes.
So,
Yes.
that made me kinda try to dig a little deeper to see what was really going on with me, well, do I have a daddy wound? And I guess I do have a daddy wound. Anyone will who with the absentee of a father, you're gonna have a daddy's wound, a daddy
Okay,
wound.
stop right there. I'm playing devil's advocate here. Some
Okay.
people would say, did you really have an absent father because you had Big Daddy? There are some people that say, um, yeah, the person wasn't there,
Yeah.
but you still didn't miss anything. And that's a hard juggling act. I disagree with that statement personally, because even though you didn't miss a beat, I didn't miss a beat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody knows my story. I was adopted and everything. I didn't miss a beat,
I
but
disagree.
there's still
It's
something.
something. It's something. Oh, girl. It's something.
It's something.
It's something. It's something that's missing, and you can't explain it. It's
And it's
like a
not
hole.
to and it's not to diminish what you had.
No, right, right. Because I feel like we had the best,
The best. And we
We
did.
had the best, but no, not to diminish it. I guess just the older that I got, and when the more that I began to reflect on, you know, my father, my earthly father, and I think when I started having kids, that played a role because I think maybe that's probably when it started really, like, because my son, I knew I always wanted his dad in his life.
Mm,
And I was determined, like, no matter what, we're gonna make sure, Your your
yeah.
father, you have a great relationship, and then so thank God, and that was my prayer too, I'm like, I just want my kids to know their father and have a
Mhm.
relationship with them, and
And
so I'm
boy,
sure
do
that
they.
had. Huh?
I said,
Yeah,
boy, do they.
they do, and thank God. They do, they know, so and even I remember with, Jalen getting a little emotional when their daughter daddy dance. Even though I don't know back then, did we have that? I don't know.
I don't
I
I
don't.
never attended one.
Right,
If we
so
did,
I
I don't
don't
think that
know,
was a
but I was
thing.
like, "Oh, this is so beautiful. You get to go to a daddy-daughter dance with your dad." And, so it's just like little things like that,
Yeah.
I'm like, "Wow." And so I was even just talking to my sisters, I'm like, hey, we didn't know. We didn't know, but we heard he was a wonderful guy. We knew his face, we knew he was handsome, we knew that he was intelligent. Uh, and I even when I, met the other cousins on the other side some years ago, just hearing all the stories, I mean, I was I got emotional there at the reunion because it's like,
Mm,
wow, wow, just missing a piece of me
that you
that
didn't
I didn't
know.
know that I that I missed. I didn't know, and just hearing so many just wonderful stories about him, wonderful stories, and when everybody get to what happened, it's like it's so unfortunate that that happened to him because he was such a great person, and you
Mhm.
guys would have,
You would have loved
he
him.
loved you all, he loved you all, but we just wasn't able to, have that
Have that
relationship.
version.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Have that relationship with him.
You said something interesting. Did you feel like this was something that you couldn't talk about, or did you? Because I know we're dealing with generations here.
Mhm,
Our parents, and then we move different, especially as we've gotten older. We're
mhm.
just our generation. We're just more open. We're just more self-reflective. We're The older
Yeah.
generation's kinda like, what are we even talking about it for?" So
Right,
did
right.
you feel like, and not necessarily now, but let's say when you were younger, that it was something that you couldn't talk about or shouldn't be talked about, or you just
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, because 'cause I'm thinking, we were here that's basically where we heard that, something happened to him. They're not sure. So, yeah, we didn't really talk about it, but what it did, it made me, like, growing up, the older I got, I as far as, drinks or if someone I was very cautious with that, drinking and watching my cup, making sure nobody put anything, if I left it unattended, and it was all because I would say I would always reference what I was told happened to my dad, that
Mhm.
something happened to him. Someone either he was out with friends or whatever, and something either someone put something in his drink or something. So that's what I've always so it was like, wow, this could mess you up if so
Yeah,
and so we never really talked about it a lot, no, mm-mm. I wouldn't even say I guess my friends, yeah, no, because
not so n
everybody always knew of, my grandfather,
your
Big Daddy.
dad.
Yeah,
Yeah, and even being your cousin and being around,
yeah.
yeah, big
I
dad.
didn't realize I didn't talk about it
You didn't
until
talk about I knew your father exists. I know your
yeah,
father's name. I've
yeah,
seen pictures, heard
yeah,
little stories here. Because again, they all grew up together, including
they
my
all grew
dad.
up.
But, I didn't know, um, and certainly didn't know and would not know how you felt about any of this, and maybe you didn't even know until
I
here
was
recently.
yeah, I was just thinking, I mean, yeah, it to be honest, I didn't realize it growing up because he was just I had he was just and not only did we have Big Daddy, we had like I had examples of my uncles, who were in the
Yeah,
home, so I knew what it was look like to have a father present, um and
I hadn't even
uncle
thought about it like that,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, and my uncle and, uncle in Arkansas who's married to my aunt, he took us fishing for the first time, so when we would go stay with so it's like I saw how he loved on his daughter and how he loved on his kid, it was just so I saw it, I saw, with your dad, how he took I can remember things that they did and just growing up how he would cook different things for us and always cooking dishes and snacks and stuff in the house and how he took us to our first New Edition concert. Any.
Sure did, sure did.
And so so yeah. Now
He
Big
he
Daddy,
dropped us off, y'all, he ain't stay.
he did not stay. He took us and dropped us
Dropped us
off and
off. We had a
we had
good
some good
time.
seats.
We had some good seats. Yeah, we did a lot, and that again, that's the evidence that it's just never been a conversation because we literally grew up together, stayed at each other's houses, even
Mhm,
though
mhm.
I was in Tampa, y'all were in Orlando, and y'all were at
Yeah.
our house, we were at your house, and then we moved. I
Yeah.
mean, and never a conversation, just
Now my mom, she never said anything, bad about him. She only just said that something happened to him, and he wasn't
mhm.
the same, mentally. So that's all she would say. Um,
So
well, she'll say a little bit more.
well, okay, well. So why is it so what made you want to have a conversation and let do this Father's Day tribute to
Yeah.
fathers? Why was
So
this important for you?
so for me, when I was thinking about it, I said, I'm thankful for my dad, right? Even though I didn't know him in the way that I would have desired to know him,
Mhm.
but I feel the that he accomplished one major assignment is that we're here. I'm here. I'm here. And without him, I wouldn't have been able to be here. You know? So I just wanted to honor because I it's sometimes, when social media came out or whatever, I will post a picture periodically. But I never really did that either. And when I think about it, so I just wanted to honor and show some grace and forgiveness for those who,
Mm.
because he wasn't present, it doesn't mean that I have no, because I feel like it was beyond his control, what
Sure.
happened. It was beyond his control. And so I just kind of wanted to talk about it because within my friend circle, oh my goodness, it was so many people were experiencing something similar, but yet they may have had even, they're not even knew their dad at all, but also maybe even just still having some major healing and some major wounds. So I'm like, okay, God, I think I know definitely know that this is a conversation that we need to talk about because in order to heal and move forward, you got to first acknowledge, like, okay, let me acknowledge it and let me become aware of hmm because of the generational things, sometimes things can get swept under the table. It's like, shoot, we don't talk about
Mhm.
that. We don't talk about it.
Mhm.
So, and, hey, I just wanted to talk about it because I felt like I'm in a place in my life where I know I can look back. I know that I have been tremendously blessed, having those and just even I'm thankful that I did know him. I knew him. I was able to see him. I was able to have conversations with him. Um, so I just kind of wanted to, and just even where I am right now, I prayed, I asked God, to heal me in areas where I didn't even know that I was hurting, the
Mm.
areas that I didn't even know that I was lacking and missing because of a father, the father not my biological, my earthly father not being in the home or either not having a relationship with him, because it's one thing to know and know of him, but that relationship to daddies and daughters,
Yeah.
I have learned that it is very, very important. And I'm sure it is just, I guess, the father relationship, even to men. The more you talk about it, you think about it, you hear, I have friends too, have had horrible experiences with their dads who are men. And yet it causes how it determines the way they move and act right now if they're not intentional about changing those patterns. Because
Mm.
it's a pattern. It's patterns. So I just never wanted my children to experience that. And I just wanted to be able to have a conversation, be free, and talk about something because it's nothing to be ashamed of. It's my life, it's my story. And no shade, no nothing negative to anyone.
Absolutely not.
It's just
No.
something it's the word tells us that all things work together for our good.
That's
So
right.
God leaves nothing, no crumbs on the table. He knew that this was gonna happen. He knew that my big daddy would feel it. He knew I would have my uncle in Arkansas to look at, my uncle in Tampa. He knew all those people would come, my uncles in Florida. He knew I would have a village and he knew that I would have some positive father figures in my life, you
Sure.
know? So, I just wanted to talk about it and kinda share my story because I didn't realize it until you said, I was like, "Oh, well, we're talking about being authentic and real conversations. I guess we'll start with me. Let me look at the man in the mirror," you know? I didn't realize I didn't really talk about him
Mm-mm.
until
And
you
I
said
and I and I understand why, because I understand because I
our
understand
our
what we uh-huh, uh-huh. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
but,
understand
I was
our
talking
people.
to my, and his the it's hard to explain. It's like I reference her as my sister. She's older. She's like 3 years older. So we've been trying to be intentional about having a relationship and talking and
Wait, did you say it's hard to reference her as your sister? She's
'cause
your
I
sister.
in my mind, I have to be intentional about because we didn't grow up together. So I didn't find out about her until I was like maybe in high school.
I remember
Yeah,
when learning
and
about
she's
her.
a
I
sweet
remember.
girl, love
Mhm.
love so I'm so thankful, and she's being intentional, so we're trying to being intentional to connect with each other and our kids.
Okay, hold on, let me ask you, is it okay to ask about her? I
Yeah, I just
Okay.
trying to call names. Go
Oh,
ahead.
no, 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 don't say names.
Yeah.
When you found out about her, now this is high school, Patreasa, not
High school,
today.
yeah.
What did that look like for you? Were you like, "Oh, okay, yeah, she exists, but we not gonna have no relationship because"
N no,
or
actually, I was just like my cousins, I remember they became friends with her. They were going to the same school. And that's how I found out just one summer going there and they were like,
I remember. I
"Oh,
remember.
this your sister?" I go, "Oh,
I
really?
remember.
Okay, hey." So, I guess even back then, I didn't yeah, I didn't feel any I'm like, "Oh, you must okay." And, the more than when I talked to my mom about it, it had nothing to do with her and him, they weren't married, this was before her time, so I'm like, "Okay, so it's no messy stuff going on right here."
Yeah. And I asked that for that reason because generationally, a lot of times it's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, that person exists, but we not gonna do that."
Yeah.
And then we pass that on to the
Yeah.
next generation. So I
No.
was just wondering.
Yeah, we've been talking, but even it's just I think is I don't know, I would love maybe one day we'll bring her on and talk about it because we for me it's intentional. I have to intentional like, "Oh, reach out, you haven't seen."
I
Now we'll
love that.
comment on each other's posts because, so I'm like, "Okay," but I knew her from high school because she was my cousin's friends. She used to
Mhm.
hang out with the crew so so when we would go to town, go after that, when I would go, I would let her know, "Hey, we're coming in town. We're coming in town," so she could come
I
and
love
we
her.
can meet up then and hang out. So yeah, I embraced her. I she has grandson. So I don't really like know I know the kids, you
Mhm.
know, but like we don't have that relationship yet where they like auntie or titi
Auntie.
dad or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So but our girls were in the same city and we tried to connect them. Um
Okay.
so we did that so that they would know each other and it was so weird how they were actually knowing the person in the same building. So they're in the whole big old city of Georgia, and so we were like, "Y'all connect. We want y'all to connect." So I think with that, she and I are gonna try to be a little bit more intentional so they can kinda develop a relationship, but as we develop our relationship but
Yeah.
she and I talked about, before Father's Day, and, we kinda and she well, I guess I shouldn't say, but we had it was a great
A good
conversation. It
conversation.
was a
We'll leave it at
great
that.
conversation, and love you, girl. It was a great conversation, but knowing that I was able to share a little bit on my end and kinda enlighten her, she was like, "Oh, well, I thought this because my mom and my dad were married, she didn't know that I had kind of a similar she thought I was like, "No, because we moved away," so it's
Perspective.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and we were young when they, separated, and then
And this
so
is another reason why these conversations are so important because we grow up, we go through these things, and then we have our own lived experience and our own perspective concerning other people. And then it isn't
Yeah,
until we talk to them and then we
yeah,
go, "Oh, well, I had
yeah.
made all this up in my head and none of it's real."
Yeah, 'cause she was thinking that that my relationship we had an actual relationship, even though I knew him.
Yeah.
Yeah, so she was
Kudos
thinking
to you
that.
guys for having those conversations.
Yeah, and that's what I was so we stayed on the phone for a long time talking. Um, our uncle and, our uncle, received like, a surprise guest from his daughter. She just popped up and surprised him, and the love that was seen on his face for his daughter, we talked about it. She's
Mm,
like, "We didn't have that." And I'm like, "We did not. That's the missing piece." She's
that's
like,
the
"You could
missing.
just see the love." And I said, "Yeah, yeah." Even though I
Uh,
knew my big daddy loved me,
absolutely.
absolutely, but the love of biological earthly
It's just
father,
different.
it hits
It
different.
hits
It
different.
it hits different, and I know a couple people and just I'm telling you, I only think about it when they would say, "I'm a daddy's girl, I'm a daddy's girl." I'm like, "Oh, okay.
Mm.
It ain't my story." I don't
No, yeah. Imma ask you one more question, and then Imma let you wrap it up.
Thank you.
Do you think do you think, um, having these daddy wounds made you how do you think that made you move when it came to choosing your forever partner and dating?
Dating? Baby. Poor decisions, um, because Big Daddy was there, but I guess I imagine like my husband does with I imagine conversations, about what to look out for. Nobody had those we didn't have those conversations.
Mm,
You know, Big Daddy was like,
old school.
yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
talking about
no
that.
conversations about
I'm not doing
relationships,
that.
no warnings about guys. I don't remember any of that. The only conversations I remember, it came from my older cousin who kinda like a brother, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Listen, I don't wanna hear you say you got another friend." Oh, he's just a friend, and he really was just a friend, 'cause I'm like, "Oh, he's just a friend." But so that can then I'm like, "Oh, so it's something wrong with having friends." But,
And I asked you that because people don't think about that piece of it. It shapes how you move when you start dating and what to look for. Or
yeah.
it shapes that.
Yeah. I can
So
tell that I did make from my past, and it had to be intentional, yeah. I feel like I made some horrible mistakes and, horrible decisions, and I'm sure it was because I had those daddy wounds that I wasn't, tending to.
sure.
Um, but one thing for sure now, I can say, on a positive note, because of how that was instilled in me, what happened to my dad, I was very careful when it came to alcohol or drinks or anything. None of that was I mean, that was hands down.
That was a
So
core
it's like
memory for you.
I remember how that destroyed our lives, because it changed him.
Mm,
And so even my children, I would when they were growing up, I told them what, happened to their grandfather and how we really didn't know, but it was alleged that something happened with a drink or something or um and I always, like, honed in on that. Do not drink, but if you do, be careful. Watch what you're doing, so that was something that definitely taught me a lesson because you hear how he's such a wonderful guy, but this changed his whole life. And, I'm sure maybe the military had something to do with it as well
mhm.
because he was in war or, serving
Yeah.
and, it's just he just came back different. Um, so it's just that combination. So I often yeah, 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 yeah. I feel like it may, but even with right now with my children's father and my husband, we talk about it and he's like, "Well, that's not me." I said, "I know." But it's like I always get warnings like, "Well, this happened to my daddy." You know, this happened to my dad. And But he has, oh my goodness, and that's why I say I'm so thankful God answered my prayer because he has such a wonderful relationship. He was there for our kids, hands down,
Absolutely,
baby.
hands down.
Hands
Hands
down.
down.
He is the he was, and well, I'll say it. He was the daddy. He was their dad. Both my daughter and my son, they had their dad present and
Absolutely.
accounted for everything.
Mhm.
So he definitely, that was a prayer. I wanted my children to have a relationship and know their dad, and it happened just that way. It did.
I wanna thank you for letting me come on and put you in the hot seat.
I know.
You did amazing. So, wrap it up, Patreasa Haywood.
I
Take
know.
it away.
So just as a quick wrap up, I just want to, and I have a couple other people who want to come and share about their father stories and just kind of have the conversation. But just knowing, now that I'm older, wiser, knowing that father wounds do exist. But when I developed a relationship with my heavenly father, he was
Mm,
able to make all the difference in the world. Even though I had my big daddy, I had him, we had our uncles, but that heavenly father relationship, that void, oh girl, God, he showed me, and it just hit home like maybe even like a month or so ago. Um, I was listening to a young lady, and she was talking about some issues she had, father wounds, and God showed her that he was always there. And when she said that, that hit me. So I knew, I'm like, God, I thank you. You were always there for me. You never missed anything important. You were there for every birthday. You were there for every graduation from high school, from college, from my master's. You were there. You were there for the birth of my first son. You were there for the birth of my daughter. You were there. So as my heavenly father, you continue to, love on me and just always be present. So, and healing those areas that I didn't even know I needed healing, when I
mm.
continue to submit and surrender my life to him. So I thank God that I'm at peace, and that my decisions that I make now are not out of um, wounds, they're healed.
Ooh,
My God.
ooh,
Ooh,
ooh, that's
the
good.
decisions are, I am healed, I'm
Ooh, not
whole.
making decisions from the
Mhm.
wound, you're making decisions from being a healed place.
A healed place. So I'm thankful to God that he did that for me. I know him as a father. I
Yeah,
know him as, I'm his daughter. And I know he's
absolutely.
well pleased. I know he's proud,
Yeah,
So the love, just unconditional love. Even when I do things I shouldn't do, he's still there, but he's telling me to get back together,
get it back together.
So it's like there's nothing that I could do that he won't love me through, and he's always there. He's never absent. So I just want to encourage everyone with those, when you realize that you have those daddy, mommy, it can be mother
Could be
issues,
mommy
mother
too.
wounds and daddy wounds. When you realize that, the most important thing is just to yield yourself and ask God to help you and heal it so that you can move forward and make decisions and move forward, in a way that is not from a wounded area. It's from a healed and whole area. So that's it.
I love that.
And that message is, and that's why I wanted to have the conversation, because just for everyone, men and women at all age, it doesn't matter. You're never, never, never too old to heal those wounds. Because if you keep the wounds there, they're going to continue to affect your life in a negative way. And you're not even realizing, there are voids, and you're moving in a different way that, you know,
Yeah, I love
that's
that.
it.
Again, thank you for letting me come on and put you in the hot seat. I enjoyed our conversation.
Thank you.
You're
So,
welcome.
ladies and gentlemen, until next time, remember there is a seat at the table for you. Thank you, Tarsha. I love you.
Love you. Bye, family.
Bye. There is a seat at the table. What you say? Throne room conversations.